Hayden, thanks for joining me on a Sunday afternoon. I know it's your day of rest, your day off from football, but the reality is you don't really have a day off, do you?
No, as much as I would love to say yes, that does seem to be the case. But look, it's good to have the opportunity to have a chat. So yeah, no problem at all.
Good man. And I wanted to have this chat because I haven't had a chance to catch up with you since 2023, which was only around the corner really, but it just seems quite a while ago when you talk about it in terms of years. So I want to touch base with you and just have a little quick chat about the 3 games that we have played since hitting 2024. And of course, it didn't start too well, did it? That game on New Year's Day, unfortunately, away at Westfield, where we came away on the wrong side of a 3-0 scoreline.
I think it's fair to say New Year's Eve was better. No, in all seriousness, no. I'm making light of a bad day, and I can do that because it's not often that the players have had bad days this season, is it? Look, there's 2 teams on the pitch. I thought Westfield played very well. Let's get that right first and foremost. Westfield are a good side. I think they're very difficult to beat at home. They have a way of playing that is combative. It's difficult to play against, and they cause us problems that day. Look, sometimes you've got to hold your hands up and say the best team won, and that day they played very well. There's no question that we were below par. We wasn't ourselves, and it was a stiff reminder going into 2024 of exactly what we need to do to realise our ambitions.
Yeah,
I always say football's not a straight line. It would be great to say we win. Some days we're going to have bad days, difficult days, unlucky days. It's football. Sometimes it's just best to accept that, congratulate the opponent, and move on.
Yeah, I think they were certainly. I mean, I was at the game and freezing cold on the sideline. I was and very wet as well, and that made it even worse getting back into the car on the back end of a 3-0 scoreline. But look, fair play to them. I think you bang on the money. They did deserve it. They were better than us on the day, and they went on a little bit of a run, didn't they, just before that game? And I think they've continued it as well afterwards. So fair play to them. But thankfully, if you're going to bounce back, what an opportunity to bounce back if you're going to play one of the high-flying teams in the league in Raynes Park Vale. Fast forward to Tuesday the 9th and a 4-1 win at home against Raynes Park Vale. What a result that was.
Yeah, it was a good result. Obviously we were disappointed at Westfield, even though I think just finishing off in the Westfield performance, we must also remember that look, they deserve to win. There's no question of that. And we made mistakes that day, and they punished them very effectively. But goodness me, we really had some chances that day. That could have been 3-3 at half-time, frankly, with the chances that we missed. But, we went into the Raynes Park game knowing that I have a saying with the players, good sides don't lose twice. They don't lose consecutive games. And this was going to be a real test of that, because Raynes Park are a good side. Raynes Park are not dissimilar to Westfield in many respects. So the dynamics of playing Westfield, the dynamics of playing Raynes Park can be the same, I think. It's a similar style. Yeah. But they have good players and they're on the crest of a wave. Josh and the boys there have done tremendously well to get Raynes Park challenging, and deservedly so. So we knew it was a big game. We knew it was a tough opponent, and we knew we'd have to be at our best. I thought we played really well that day.
Yeah.
I think, many people said it was the best home performance of the season, the best performance of the season. That's interesting. I think that's true, even though, technically, tactically, I think we've been absolutely spot on in other games, but probably not been quite so effective in front of goal. But, we created a lot of chances that day. I think we deserved to win. Not to say it wasn't a difficult game, but I was pleased with the chances we created that day. I think Bishop played really well in goal for Raynes Park.
He did, yeah.
But it certainly gave, as you say, everybody a timely boost after licking our wounds at Westfield.
Yeah, it was a great, even for the neutral, if you didn't follow Leatherhead or Raynes Park Vale, you could have come down to Fetcham Grove that night and you'd have walked away thinking, what a cracking game of football I've just witnessed. And I think it was really nice to watch from the sidelines that, someone like Raynes Park Vale, who I think we knew were going to come out and play and not sit back. And actually, when you've got 2 teams that both play football and are both good teams in Leatherhead and Raynes Park Vale, it can only open it up to be a really good, entertaining game, and that's exactly what it was. Of course, it was helped by an early goal. Nice little slotted finish by Tyler in the first minute. That's always a good start to a game, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think, Simon, you're right in what you say. In fairness to Raynes Park, we've had a number of teams come to Fetcham Grove, and they have, to use the old saying, part the bus. They definitely defended deep, looked for counter-attacks, looked for free kicks, looked for corners to see whether they can nick something off us. And sometimes that doesn't make for the greatest game for the supporters as a spectacle.
Yeah.
And as I've said before, hugely difficult to play against. In recent weeks, I think we've really overcome that. Interestingly, we've got the fourth best home record in the league now, so we're fast improving on that score. But Raynes Park didn't. Raynes Park come to win, which I liked. So they come and ask a different question of us, and I think the boys passed the test very well that night.
Yeah, and you mentioned Billy Bishop in goal. Actually, I was talking to him after the game, and I think without him, it could have easily have been 6 or 7.
Well, let's just say that he played very well.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Josh would say that it wasn't their day. We've got them again in a few weeks, I think. So, and again, it will be a very difficult game. Look, everybody was pleased. People spoke to me about the Raynes Park game for weeks and weeks and weeks. And other supporters, it was a game they really wanted to win. But the reality is, just took us, to use a cliche, 3 points nearer we need to be.
Yeah. Good stuff. And then fast forward, Northwood away, a ground that I visited and watched the game, and it's the first time I've ever been to Northwood, actually. A good 2-1 win away against, I felt, quite a difficult side. They didn't offer much coming forward, although they scored a goal late in the end, but they sat back and defended quite well and made it difficult at times for us. What was your take on the Northwood game?
I think the Northwood game was more important than the Raynes Park game. And the reason that I say that is, if you want to be successful, you're going to play in big games. And frankly, sometimes the big games are the easier games as a manager, to get the players in the right place and to prepare them. I think the sign of a good side is the team that wins the game after the big game. So everybody was on the crest of a wave at Raynes Park, and a few days later we had a job to do at Northwood. I thought that it was our defining moment of the season so far. I thought it was our biggest test of the season. And I thought the team were very, very good that day. Very good. Northwood, albeit are sitting in the bottom half of the table, I think are a team that couldn't beat anybody. They've got the likes of Tingy with that incredible throw. They've got players that, can cause problems. So we knew it would be a tough game following Raynes Park, and we knew we had to be absolutely on our mettle. So, like I say, having beaten Raynes Park, the next game was always going to be crucial for Leatherhead. So to go to Northwood and win was a big tick in the box in my view.
Yeah, I was going to say, pun absolutely intended. It's quite funny looking at down the pitch from in the first half from behind the goal, and all you could see was their goal and this graveyard behind. And I was going to say that I bet they've killed a few teams off, really. But no, I won't use that pun, not in this interview anyway. I think
you might want to edit that.
I'll get that. I'll take that one out, actually. No, I'll leave that one in for comedy value so people can rip me about it later on. Anyway, so a good win away, and of course disappointing yesterday not to be able to play at Fetcham Grove, but with the weather, it's been awful, isn't it? Last week it's been freezing cold, and not surprisingly, game called off.
No, really difficult to prepare. Really difficult to prepare this week for the Chipstead game, because the southeast of England's had -2, -3, -4 temperatures when we wanted to train. So yeah, it's been a difficult week all round, really. But to go to Chipstead, obviously the temperatures were rising Saturday, so we thought there was half a chance. Frustratingly, had we played today, I think it's probably fine at Fetcham Grove at the moment. But look, always disappointing. It's particularly for the club, being a Saturday, for the income, and for the team that's on the crest of a wave, want to continue to play. Yeah, it was a little frustrating that we couldn't play, but there we are. We just have to crack on and look forward to seeing Chipstead again sometime soon.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So we're currently sitting third in the league. Some other teams did play yesterday around us, and I think the noticeable result yesterday was Chertsey Town beating Uxbridge 6-0.
Yes. Congratulations to Chertsey. I mean, they're doing really well at the moment, aren't they?
They are.
They're a juggernaut. They're knocking over whatever is in front of them. I think Uxbridge had a player sent off quite early. I had someone at the game. He's not given me the full report yet, but just scanning, it looks like they had someone sent off. So,
Right.
tough day for Uxbridge. Because when we played Uxbridge, I thought they were a really good side. I thought, it was their first game back at their stadium, and I thought they were very good that day. Certainly had the potential to do probably better than what they are. I thought they were good, but Chertsey at the moment are deservedly sitting top of the league. I mentioned the points per game ratio when we last spoke. If you hit 2 points per game, look at any other league. If you've got 2 points per game after 22 games, you are either top or you're very, very, very close to it. So, we've played 22 games and we've got 48 points. Now, I've got to say, in fairness to the players, I think that that's a real achievement for the boys. So we're sitting here with an average of 2.18 points per game, which is really good. Chertsey got 2.5 points per game at the moment. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, that's that. I mean, I think we mentioned before, and you said in another interview about the number of points already in this division. When you look across the other Step 4 divisions, they're just sort of, there's no comparison. And you mentioned our stats. Now, ordinarily, and this is where people have to put things into perspective, I had a little conversation with Graham, our stat man, and that point, the amount of points that we've got so far this season after 22 games is incidentally the highest points tally we've had for over 60 years at the club at this stage of the season after 22 games. So it does go to show how, with that stat, we're still only third. And it just goes to show how it's a really, really tough season this season, isn't it, with the teams above us?
Well, I think, in speaking to Graham, I think the stat is actually more impressive than that, in as much as obviously 60 years ago it was 2 points per game, not 3 points per game. I think the statistic of wins, draws and losses is better than anything we've seen in 60 years. So brilliant for the players. I mean, a fantastic achievement for them. And if you looked at any other league, if we wasn't top, we'd be second. But we're sitting third. Southall, a really good side. Chertsey are doing exceptionally well. Marlow are right behind us. Had a great result at Rains Park yesterday. Rains Park, we know, are a good side. We've seen they're a good side. All these teams will be there for the duration. And then I think you've got the likes of Hartley Wintney, who are going on Tuesday, and Westfield and South Park and Bagshot Lee. They'll all be in the mix, these teams.
Yeah, well,
it's a really competitive division.
Yeah, they seem to have crept up a little bit, Hartley Wintney. I mean, they're up to 6th now. They're on 41 points. They have played a game more than us, Marlow and Rains Park, but they're only 2 points behind Rains Park, who occupy that last playoff position currently.
Look, in the second half of the season, there'll be peaks and troughs, there'll be swings and roundabouts, there'll be every cliche you can think of. It'll be a roller coaster. We have to just concentrate on us. If we concentrate on our work and block everything out, block out all the noise, whether it's the euphoria of beating Rains Park or the disappointment of losing to Westfield, whether Chertsey have won, Southall have won, Marlow have won, Rains Park or whoever, we just have to concentrate on Leatherhead. And my experience in doing that, and Junior's experience in doing that, and players that have been with me in promotion pushes before in this division and the league above, you just have to concentrate on Leatherhead. And if we block everything out and just focus on our work, I think we've got a great opportunity here to realise everybody's dreams this season.
Brilliant.
Irrespective, I think we should all be very proud as a group, as a club, as a team, of how far that we've come in the last 12 months or so.
Absolutely. I just looked at that score line for Uxbridge and Chertsey, and yeah, you're right, that Uxbridge had a player sent off after 21 minutes, so obviously a difficult day for them. On to Tuesday night, away at Hartley Wintney. Is it a ground? Have you been there before?
No, never.
Yeah.
Actually, never. I intended to go and watch them yesterday, but we trained yesterday.
Right.
And Junior wasn't too well yesterday. He was on the training ground, but it was more important for me to be with the players. Like I said, it was a difficult week for prep last week, so we had to do some prep. We had to do some tactical work. I've got the reports on Hartley Wintney, and clearly they're a very good side. I think that they're a team that are fast improving and will have serious promotion aspirations. So I think it will be one of our most difficult away games to date. There's no question about that. Really, really good side, good young players, dangerous strikers. Yeah, again, I think it's a game where we're going to have to be at our best.
Yeah, I think last time I looked, I think they got a few young lads on loan from Aldershot Town. So, and they're in that catchment area where they can pick up players from clubs like Aldershot. So, I've been there a couple of times. Nice little ground in a nice little village. It's really quite quaint, to be quite honest with you. Nice big bar that the away supporters will be pleased to hear if they want. If they need a beer before or during or after, there's a nice big bar there available for them. So, well, look, I do appreciate you, giving me your time on a Sunday to have this little catch-up chat. It's difficult sometimes after games because I know your analysis after the game doesn't end at the final whistle. So sometimes I don't get an opportunity to catch up with you. But I really do appreciate you having this chat with me on a Sunday. And I look forward to keeping an eye on the Tuesday night result. Not sure if I'm going to be there. I'm going to try my best to be there. There is quite good, if he's still there, there's a good gourmet burger van there, I have to say. The fans, again, if he's there, support him. Really, really good. Really, really good. But there you go. I suppose with my current physique, I should stay off the burgers. But never mind. Hayden, just before we go, I want to talk to you. We've had a departure this week in the squad. It raised a few eyebrows. It raised my eyebrows because he hasn't been with us that long, actually. And he came in, I think some might look at it and say, actually, as a perhaps not a direct replacement of Dave Tarpey when Dave departed, but it actually was another forward that we brought in when Dave went. So I was quite, I was quite baffled really as to what happened. Can you just explain what's gone on with Tommy Stagg this week and why he's decided to depart?
Yeah, look, I was disappointed to lose Tommy as well. Tom is a young player, that is a good young player, and was doing very, very well with us, competing with Trevan. Over the last few weeks, I think Trevan has really done very, very well. And we've decided to change the dynamic of the forward line a little bit. So, we spoke, do you remember when we spoke earlier in around Christmas time and we were having one or two difficulties playing against teams that defended very deep against us?
Yes.
We made a conscious decision to make one or two changes to the forward line, changes the dynamic to the forward line that would give us a little bit of a different option and something for the opponents to think about. You'll notice that Tyler Cox is now playing one of the 10s, for example. So Tommy, albeit was doing very well, wants to play. He's a young player that wants to play. He was getting frustrated that he wasn't playing. And let's not forget, the guy lives in Brentwood, so he's not travelling up the road. He's not travelling 10 minutes to get to Leatherhead. He's travelling some distance and fighting through the motorway traffic. So, I was having conversations with him because I understand that he wants to play, but I thought he continued to be a really good lad and a really important player in our squad. However, we received a 7-day approach from Bowers and Pitsy. I spoke to Tom. Tommy, albeit didn't want to leave Leatherhead, did want to play regularly. Bowers and Pitsy made him a really good offer. And, I have a budget to respect in the second half of the season, which is important that we work with the club and respect budgets. Tommy wants to play football. Bowers and Pitsy have made him a really good offer. So unfortunately, we had to wish him well. But we do wish him well. Okay. He's a good young player, and he was important for us. But I understand from all sides that it's not an ideal situation, but a situation where you have to be fair. And with that in mind, we wish Tommy every success at Bowers.
That's fair enough. And I'll just clarify for the sake of the fans that don't understand the 7-day approach. It's for non-contracted players, isn't it? And if a club comes in, they can't approach. They put their approach into the club. I think it's chairman to chairman or secretary to secretary, and then on the 8th day they're allowed to talk to the player, aren't they? And then it's pretty much down to the player, isn't it? We try and talk them out of it between days 1 and 7, but then on the 8th day they have their conversation, and if you can't blame the lad. If it's closer to home, then it does make sense, especially if he's not going to be an automatic first choice for Leatherhead with Trevan, as you say, playing so well at the moment.
He's a young player that wants to play. I didn't want him to leave, but I would never stand in the way of any young player who says, I want to play every week. I can go there and play every week. That's the one guarantee that we couldn't give him. And, we're not in a position where we can just throw money at people. Bowers have made him a good offer. It's a fair offer. I spoke to the manager of Bowers. James wants Tommy to come in, play regularly, 20 minutes up the road, sort of tick the boxes for him. So, yeah, listen, don't anybody think that I wanted Tommy Stagg to walk out the door. I didn't. But you have to respect the club budgets, first and foremost. You have to be honest with the player and work with the player and make a decision that's right for the player secondary to that. And when you sit down and talk to the player and you speak to Bowers, it was a good option for Tommy. And, as disappointed as we are, we don't want to stand in his way.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Hayden, any more messages for the fans? Anything you want to say before we wrap things up?
Just to thank everybody. I think the supporters are integral to our success, our improvement. I just want to repeat that, there are times where it will be a roller coaster in the second half of the season. The stakes will be high. Yeah. We need to just do our job, and we need to be there with the supporters together. And on some of the difficult days, of which there will be, I know the supporters, like at Westfield, they'll be disappointed. The reality is, football is football. There'll be more days like Westfield. That's when the boys really need the supporters to get behind them.
Yeah.
And if they can, and if they continue to get behind us at home, like the guys did v Rains Park, where the atmosphere in the ground was tremendous, it's going to be the proverbial 12th man that we need that might just get us over the line.
Yeah, well said. Couldn't agree more. Hayden, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for this little chat, this little brief chat, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll catch up very soon.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Cheers, mate. Bye now.